There's an interesting story going around the internet of a feral boy, one Dina Sanichar, found in 1867, who was brought up completely by wolves till he was 6 years old. After he was caught and sent to an orphanage, they found that he could not walk straight. He had a preference for raw meat. He only growled when he wanted to communicate, and he never picked up any language in order to speak to anyone. He died at the age of 34. This unfortunate boy never lived as a human. Now, there are a lot of people who are making interesting comments, but none of them are thinking about what this means to education. This is Usha Pandit, your Mind Springs English teacher, and I am going to tell you what I thought when I read it. I was thinking about the impact of early childhood and early learning on human minds. So, what you find in Dina Sanichar is that he did not have social skills because he had never been amongst human beings. So, social skills start very early in life. Start with your mom and your dad and everybody in and around you talking to you in the first place, and then you start playing with friends when you're 1 and 2, with your brothers and sisters. Social skills are very important. Early childhood education. What it tells you is that the physical skills are not developed because he couldn't walk upright. He used to crawl on fours and then finally managed to sit. That's all. So, there you go, and then you have mental skills where he never picked up language. Language is something that all 2-year-olds across the world, irrespective of culture or difficulty levels of the language, pick up without a teacher, without a school, just by being amongst human beings. So, what does that tell us about learning? The important social impact of learning a language is also something that we must learn from this story. And finally, of course, emotional skills, where the little boy could not connect with anyone, and he died lonely at the age of 34. So, my dear friends, early childhood education is about physical, mental, emotional and social growth and development. Now, the question to ask is, what are we doing to our children in schools? What is your curriculum? Does it have physical, mental, social, emotional development? And when I talk about it, I just don't mean just leaving them to be. I am talking about developing these areas by giving them the right inputs, which could be stories, songs, games, activities, because that is the nature of the child. The child is curious, the child is active, the child is playful, the child is imaginative. Are you catering to that? Now, if you are a school, look at your day. If you are a school where you are getting them to trace 1, 2, 3 and ABC for the 3 hours that you've got, if you're doing half an hour of that, if you're getting them to color for another half an hour, and then you're making them sit in a circle, you're screaming and shouting every time children are talking or making a noise or falling on either side, because that's their nature. They are restless, they are not going to sit in one place. If that is where almost a third or half of your 3 hours is being spent with children, you are not catering to any of these areas. The important thing to ask is, so how do we do it? What do we do? This is why I created the magic box. It's there for 3 years, for 3 plus, 4 plus and 5 plus. It's full of ideas. It's full of ideas for activities, it's got video links, It's got songs and dances and poems and games and all sorts of vocabulary that's happening there. It's got science and it's got maths. It's a holistic curriculum. It's got critical thinking stories. That sort of richness of exposure is what you want to give children, so that you don't have shades of Dina Sanichar, you have a rich environment for this child. If the child, without us doing any of these things, by just doing this mediocre schooling, if the children can become what they have become today, imagine if you gave them a rich world, what they would become. We have not even explored that possibility because we don't do it. Now let me come to parents. Maybe you cannot control schools, but you can control your environment at home. What have you decided? So you have decided we need to feed children, clothe children, take them to tuitions, take them to movies, entertainment parks. This is what your world is. This is how you show love to children. But with all this, along with all this, if you could bring in discussions, if you could just talk to children about the world around them, if you could observe the world with them, if you could view things on the net and on television and have a chat about that, if you could take them to different places and give them a lot of sensory experiences, maybe take them to a flower shop or to a perfumery or take them to a place where they can touch different things, textures. If you did stuff like that, if you told them stories and then asked them questions that make them think, if you sang songs and if you danced together, these are great. If you did experiments in science, simple experiments at home where you just have a lot of fun with a bucket of water, if you did that, then those children would blossom and shine. But if you are again sending them to tuition where they are writing 1, 2, 3 and ABC, my dear friends, it's a terrible mistake because you're limiting their experiences. They are moving towards Dina Sanichar's world of limited experience. Create vibrant vigor in their lives. Now you are asking me, how? I don't know what to do. That's the place to go. Available on Amazon, available on our website. It's QR coded in Hindi, which explains to you how the books need to be done. Imagine. So everything has been done for you. You just need to go through them, pick the ones that interest you and just start doing it. Because I promise you, it's going to be a lot of fun. So it's not like the child is going to cry and say, I don't want to watch this cartoon, I don't want to play, I don't want to work with mud and sand to do an experiment. Your child will never say that. Your child will never say, let's not play games. So it's a win-win situation. And you will find in 3 years, children are bright and ready to take on the world. So go for it, the magic box. If you're a school, subscribe to the books, to the textbooks, share it with your parents. If you are a parent, make sure you give your child that extra. After all, we want our children to have the best, don't we say that? Then don't limit their world. Make sure it's rich, healthy and happy. Thank you.